for me, when I look at water, it makes me feel like everything is always unmapped, you know? Um, and I think one of these driving forces of art is like we know that once you put a name to something, or like once you describe something, um, you've described it at a single moment in time, but then everything's always changing. Um, and so it becomes an artifact as soon as you name it. Yeah. Um, but the real thing that was mapped has changed already since the moment that you map it, even though we don't see it.
So there's that. I think there's a tension and a resistance of water and people, kind of almost sort of increasing in a way, but that it's still not. I don't know quite what I'm saying, but more like something like, really in our minds we still think water's good.
I think what is missing is how we see nature and ourselves, and water is like very separated things. And I think most of the research, or most of the ecological projects they call, it's also taking nature or water as like some, not like separated body of thing, not like part of us. So this is getting there. I think, I don't know, it's like recently this research and how we structure, how we see nature or history, how we put it together. I think it's really changing, but it's a missing part in schools or in the books. It's always talking about as a separated thing. So I think this is what missing specifically.
Like water is a doorway to know ourselves and our connection to everything.
The ability of water to connect is very important. So instead of seeing islands as separated by water, you can see them as joined by water if you shift your perspective. And this is something that I think all three of us are trying to do in different ways, is to rejoin bodies together to create a way of seeing the relationships rather than seeing individuals and separation. I mean, that's a political move. Water needs to move in a particular way for it to be healthy. That's an incredibly important point. Experimentation shows that if you put plastics into the water, not only does it affect aquatic life, but it inhibits the way water can move. So naturally speaking, water moves in these spirals, and so the rivers do this through the landscape, and that's got an ecological purpose. It's not just pretty, it does all sorts of things which I won't labor about here. But as soon as you put plastics in the water, and this is detergent and all sorts of other things, so I'm not talking about microplastic bits, I'm talking about, the suds, everything that we use to so-called clean ourselves, means that the water can't spiral in the same way. So it starts to take straighter lines, which has an impact on the rest of the landscape. Certain things lose contact with water. Water floods more easily as a result of it. So, these points are really important. If we mess around with how water can move, we're messing around with everything. And all of the extra carbon dioxide in the ocean, because it absorbs it, the excess in the atmosphere is doing that, is affecting the weather, is affecting the rivers, is affecting everything.
I believe that actually we need to create different ways of connection with water. I mean, everything, not just water, but because I think I'm reading a lot of Mesopotamian historians, and also you see that you thank the water, right? You have it, and you have these rituals makes you connect with it, and be thankful about it. So I think in our society we are really disconnected with these rituals. So art, or I don't know, the way of what we are doing, or the way we are seeing it, is maybe going to create another way of connecting the water, or rituals, or maybe we get shorter gaps between what is given and what we give and how we treat it. it's not even that it's possible we can understand everything about water, where it's coming from, but at least trying to understand and appreciate it. I think it's important for future. I mean, it's not that just we criticize the politicians or you know, or criticize the dams or whatever, but also I think individually we can try to way of reconnecting in, you know, in a different way.